Session 7 recaps the journey we have taken together through 4 leadership dynamics for greater church vitality. These are the 4 primary roles that leaders on the Go Leader team need to play to give the Go Project a maximum opportunity to succeed. These dynamics or roles are captured in the following 2 pairings. First, the ministry of the word and prayer. Second, leading with high support and high challenge. The pro-side change triangle highlights the vital working relationship between the sponsorship of the Go Leader team, the project management of the Vision team, and the change management of the Go Center. Unity is a critical strategic factor, and it's a biblical directive. Ephesians 4 instructs us to be eager to maintain unity, noting that there is one body, one spirit, one hope, one Lord, one faith, one baptism, and one God and Father of us all. In our examination of Acts 6, we discovered the principle of the main thing. Make the main thing, and keep the main thing the main thing. And what was the main thing for the 12 apostles? The ministry of the word and prayer. Acts 6 gave us our first look at the 2 Go Project platforms, spiritual renewal with strategic initiative. These 2 interlocking elements were thoroughly revealed and reinforced by the Nehemiah model that we mined from the book of Nehemiah. The leadership application of spiritual renewal with strategic initiative calls for key leaders, the Go Leader team, to administer spiritual leadership and strategic leadership. We covered much biblical ground with the scripture greats. These 6 passages repeatedly hit the nail on the head concerning the preponderance of biblical evidence that we are called to be laborers in God's harvest field. Jesus builds his church. We love God and love neighbor. We go and make disciples. We bear witness here, there, and everywhere. We join Jesus in his search and rescue mission, and we proclaim the gospel throughout the whole world. We recognize that our God is a seeking God, seeking the lost to bring them to salvation, the starting line, and developing them into being true worshipers as they worship in spirit and in truth, the finish line. We saw that the ministry of prayer in the Go Project focused on 3 strategic functions. First, prayer that is essential to spiritual renewal. Second, reliance on the ministry of prayer teams. And third, the Great Commission discipline of preemptive prayer. Finally, we examined the support challenge matrix as a tool to be leveraged in becoming liberating leaders that lead with high support and high challenge, creating a church culture of empowerment and opportunity. I'd like to challenge you to embrace these 4 leadership dynamics fully as you provide oversight for the Vision team as they move the Go Project process forward. There's a military term called Overwatch. Overwatch is defined as a force protection tactic in modern warfare where one small unit supports another while it is executing fire and movement tactics. An overwatching unit takes a position where it can observe the terrain ahead, especially likely enemy positions. This allows it to provide effective covering fire for advancing friendly units. As you provide oversight, you will provide overwatch as you sponsor the Vision team with its supporting prayer teams in moving forward with the Go Project. We don't revitalize in preparation for reaching a community. We revitalize by reaching a community. That is my high challenge to you, and I hope and pray that it will be your challenge to yourself and to your congregation. And of course, the Go Center is here to provide you with high support. Now, before we close this final session, I have a bonus preview for you, the Great Commission triangle. We have strongly established the centrality of the Great Commission in revitalizing a church by moving ministry outward into the community, into the harvest. The Great Commission triangle will give you a sense of how the vision team will be strategically leveraging the Great Commission as the Go project unfolds. The core of the Great Commission can be summarized in 3 words: go, make disciples. The triangle captures this core with a simple 3-word rhyme: reach, preach, teach. Reaching is the go element of the Great Commission, connecting with people in the community by building relationships. Preaching is the make element, the vehicle for gospel sharing. Now, we're not literally talking about preaching as in preaching from a pulpit during a worship service, though that would be included. We're talking about preaching in the sense of proclaiming or sharing or showing or modeling the gospel. This is the sowing of the seed of the gospel. Teaching is the disciples element of the Great Commission, growing people in their newfound faith. The focus of teaching is obedience. Jesus said to teach them to obey or observe all that he had commanded them. So, discipleship is not about simply acquiring biblical or theological knowledge. It's about living in obedience. In John 14:15, Jesus says, "If you love me, you will keep my commandments." So, we are to go make disciples. We are to reach, preach, and teach as we bring people to faith and as we grow them in their faith. Let's go one step further. Let's connect go and reach to the term outreach, and make and preach to the term evangelism, and disciples and teach to the term discipleship. Outreach, evangelism, and discipleship. When the vision team gets into the strategic ministry planning, they will be using a tool called the Great Commission Matrix. In this matrix, leaders will develop strategies in their respective ministry areas through the grid of outreach, evangelism, and discipleship. These 3 will be referred to as missional ministry movements. They are not to be programs or ministries per se, but they are to be movements that weave through all ministry areas of the church. All ministries will develop the capacity to do outreach, to do evangelism, to do discipleship. All ministries will develop the capacity to reach, preach, and teach. All ministries will develop the capacity to go make disciples. In other words, all ministries will learn to labor in the harvest. In so doing, a church will increase its capacity to bring people to faith, grow them in their faith, and the church will revitalize. I want to close this recap session with the words of Gigi Findlay, dated 1892. In missionary fields, confronting the overwhelming forces and horrible evils of paganism, the servants of Christ intensely realize their unity. They see how trifling in comparison are the things that separate the churches, and how precious and deep are the things that Christians hold in common. It may need the pressure of some threatening outward force, the sense of a great peril hanging over Christendom, to silence our contentions and compel the soldiers of Christ to fall into line and present to the enemy a united front. This is the Go Project. Go for it.